I'm Pastor Kerry Shook, and this is my wife, Chris, and we want to ask you a question we've been asking ourselves for over 10 years. What would you do if you knew you only had 1 month to live? That question has really changed our lives and the lives of hundreds of thousands of people around the world. As 10 years ago, we wrote the book, 1 Month to Live, 30 Days to a No Regrets Life, and we're so humbled how God has used it in such a powerful way. It's hard to believe that it's been 10 years.
It really is hard to believe, but it's a timeless question and one that we encourage you to start with now. So we're very directly asking you to join us in this 1 Month to Live challenge. To begin today, to ask yourself every day, what would I do if I knew I only had 1 month to live? I mean, how would your life be different? How would that change the decisions that you make? I think like most of us, you'll find that the things you do every day will be much more intentional. Our days are all filled with hundreds, sometimes even thousands of tiny, minute decisions. Asking yourself this question can change the entire trajectory of your life because the minute decisions that you make every day will go in a different direction and end up at a place where you're living the life you wish you always had been. So why wait? Why wait to be intentional? Why wait to choose to do the important thing instead of the urgent thing? Why keep waiting to do the things that life imposes on you rather than deciding what you're going to do with this one and only life? So join us.
Maybe you've done the 1 Month to Live challenge. You're one of the many who's gone through it. I really encourage you to do it again. We always need to be refreshed because it's so easy for our lives to get off balance and for us to move away from intentionality because of all the things that come at us. And this question really reminds us to get right back to what's most important, to make our life count. And we encourage you, if you've never gone through it, you're going to be in for a life change because the 1 Month to Live challenge changes your life. You change your perspective, you change your life. I'll never forget the day that Jimmy, one of my dear friends, came to me and he said, Pastor Kerry, I just want you to know my cancer has returned. And I just, want you to know it first because I know the church has been praying for me. And I said, Jimmy, I'm so sorry. And I said, I'm going to really pray for you. The whole church is going to keep praying for you for healing. And he said, that's great. The doctor told me that I only have a few months left to live. But I really want to tell you, Kerry, that I want to pray for you and for the church more than I want you guys to pray for me. I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, since I got the news that I just have a few months left to live, my life has just been so purposeful. And my relationship with my wife has never been better. It's so sweet and so intimate. And he said, I'm doing the things I've always wanted to do. I'm telling people things that I've always wanted to tell them. I'm not holding back. And he said, it's just like I'm not distracted anymore by life. And so I'm finally doing all the things I need to do. And I want to pray for you and for the church that you won't be distracted by life. You see, Chris and I have walked with many people at the end of their life when they knew they only had 1 month to live or a few months left to live. And it seems like they always start doing the things that are most important. And our whole question is, why wait? And the 30-day challenge is not about death. It's about life because we challenge you in your life group, in your small group, in your Sunday school class, whatever it may be. We challenge you as a group to live the next 30 days as if it's your last, not because you're going to die in a month, Lord willing, because you're going to live many more years. And we believe with all our hearts that if you live the next 30 days as if it's your last, at the end of the month, you'll be more alive than ever before. And that's what the 1 Month to Live challenge is all about. So we're so excited that you're in a 1 Month to Live challenge group and you can help each other be accountable. Now, I want to share with you the Bible verse that the 1 Month to Live challenge is based on, Psalm 90:12. It says, teach us to number our days that we may get a heart of wisdom. Saying, God, help us to remember that our days are numbered. Help us to really make our days count because they're counting down. And when we realize that life here on this earth is just temporary, that is just a really small amount of time compared to all eternity, then we get real intentional about living.
There's something very sobering for most people about going to a cemetery. Something maybe even a little spooky, and they feel like, oh, I just don't even want to think about that. That's a separate place. But the reality is that for all of us, our days are numbered, and it's not a scary thing. If you know the Lord, it's a great thing. It's just a reality of our lives. And when we live with that reality in mind, it changes everything. And when you walk through a cemetery, you see that on every tombstone, there's a name, and underneath, there are 2 dates connected by a dash. Now, you don't have any control, I don't have any control over those 2 dates. We don't have any control over when we're born, who our parents are, where we were born. We have no control over those things. And the other thing we don't have any control over is when we die or the circumstances of our death, even though we know it's coming. But those 2 dates are connected by a dash, and we have tremendous control over what that dash represents. And that's where we're going to be talking about, is in living the dash. Are you dashing to live, rushing around from day to day, just trying to get through with your never-ending to-do list, laying your head on the pillow at night and wondering what it's all for? Or are you living the dash in such a way that you are intentional, that you are doing the things that you need to do? You're sharing your unique self that God made with the world, that you are making a difference, making decisions constantly, all the time, in light of the fact that you know that your days are numbered, and therefore you want to make each day count. Just listen to this verse in Psalm 39, verses 4 and 5. O Lord, make me know my end, and what is the measure of my days. Let me know how fleeting I am. Behold, you have made my days a few handbreadths, and my lifetime is as nothing before you. Surely all mankind stands as a mere breath. Our days on this planet are fleeting. Our souls will live on for eternity. But to make each day count in this life, we need to be mindful constantly of the end will come, and let's live it intentionally.
Yeah, Chris, too many times we get stuck in what we call the someday syndrome, where it's like, well, someday I'm really going to spend more time focused on my family. Someday I'm going to go for that dream in my life. Someday I'm going to really do the things that are most important. Someday. And we get stuck in the someday syndrome, and someday never comes. And we say, today is your someday. And I'm so excited that you're in this group and you're going to be studying the 1 Month to Live Challenge. And let me just lay out for you what the 1 Month to Live Challenge is. First, ask yourself the question every day for the next 30 days, what would I do if I knew I had 1 month to live? Would I do this today? Would I do that today? What would I really do? And then secondly, read a chapter in the book. We have 30 chapters, that's one for each day, to remind you to live intentionally and to really focus you in on this 1 Month to Live Challenge. So that's your devotional, the 1 Month to Live 10-year anniversary book. And we've added some new things in there on our 10-year anniversary. There's so many stories of life change and what God has done and how he's used it in people's lives. Then the third thing is meet weekly with your group, with your life group, with your small group, with your Sunday school class, whatever group you're meeting with. And then invite others to come into your group. I think that's really important. Always be asking people to join you in this study because it's life-changing. And so we have some questions for you in your study guide. And so what we want to do right now is pray for you as we kick off this challenge to live the next 30 days as if it's our last, so that God can teach us how to really live. And then we want to let you ask these questions that are in your study guide, to read the verses, ask the questions, and really get into a good discussion of what you would do if you knew you had 1 month to live. You know, we've had so many people take the challenge all around the world, and some have done crazy things, you know, like skydiving or quitting their job and just traveling around the world, things like that. But the things that really are important, the things that really make a difference, the things where you really live that dash, are those things that involve relationships. And we're going to talk about that next week in our next session. So don't forget to invite friends, and let's do the 1 Month to Live challenge. It all starts right now. So Chris, would you lead us in a prayer?
Lord, we look to you expectantly. We thank you that you have created each one of us and that you have numbered our days. And now we're asking you to teach us to number our days. Lord, show us as we turn our hearts and our minds toward you over these next 30 days. Please show us how you want us to live so that we can make this precious one and only lifetime that you've given us count for you. We love you, Jesus Christ. Amen.